Hello, this is Stephen Whitfield, drilling contractor, here at the IADC DEC Tech Forum, the Future of Drilling Brain Drain Manifesto. With me right now is Blaine of Schlumberger. He is a board member for the IADC DEC. Blaine, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Stephen. Nice to be here.
So, Brain Drain Manifesto, the name of this forum. Tell us what this forum was about.
Right. Well, that's a good question. So we had initially intended in Q3 to address the student population out at various universities and have IADC go out and do an outreach where some of our board members would go and participate in person at the universities and draw university students' attention to IADC and the drilling engineering career path that sorely needs a lot of injection of talent. These days, our industry is facing a lot of very technical, high-end problems that need to be solved. Meanwhile, we're going through some industry cycles like we've never seen before with the pandemic and now the sudden rush for energy demand because of other world issues going on. So what our intention is to encourage a lot of highly skilled young engineers to look at oil and gas as a place to come to work and prosper for an entire lifelong career. We know that there's a lot of industries that are looking at these people as high prospects for their industry, so competition is tough. Now, what we encountered, however, when we were reaching out to the universities is one in particular, Dr. Eric Van Oort at University of Texas, brought us to the realization just how challenging it is to attract people into his program even before they get to university. But on top of that, when some of his students were leaving university, their expectations of the industry versus what they witnessed were very different and not in necessarily a positive way. So rather than address the population of students right now, we thought we would turn the script a little bit and maybe look inward and see if there's some things that all of our companies, drilling contractors, service companies, operators, academia, and government can do to make our industry more of a attractive place for a lifelong career. Because we know oil and gas is going to be here for quite some time. Definitely an energy transition is on the go, but we have decades before that full transition would take place.
So what would you say are some of the areas of interest that people discuss here? There's a lot of lively discussion on a lot of topics here at the forum. What would you say some of those topics were?
Right. So we tried to narrow it down to a couple of key themes, I guess, if you will. One was, does the outside world view our industry in the light that we would want it to in order to make our industry attractive? So we spent some time discussing a lot of that. Number two, the technology that's in play today and technology that's required tomorrow for drilling engineers to do their job better, but also contribute more to the advances of our overall ambitions of improved well efficiency at lower price. Number three, how do we engage the prospect students and young engineers right from the beginning of recruiting, and then mentor them throughout their career, and then make sure that they have the support that they need for a much longer career, and so they can stay in the industry for the duration. And number four is, how do we collaborate better among ourselves as company to company, discipline to discipline? There's opportunities for us as an entire industry to do things maybe a lot more collaborative, knowing that we're challenged with getting good talent to come and stay.
What steps would you say, out of all this discussion that came out today, what steps would you say the industry should take, right now in the near term to try to get more people involved, more people interested in careers in this industry, particularly more young people?
So, good question. The very first step in terms of what we were up to today was to create what we call a manifesto document, essentially a white paper of all of the brainy ideas that everybody came up with today. Then we will distill that into actionable items. Some may have low impact and very high effort, versus some may have very high impact with little effort. So our job now is to distill what was discussed today, come up with some key things that we can take to our respective companies with the IADC brand on them. So it's not just individuals speaking, but it's an organization that has some viable recommendations. And the hope is that that will stimulate simple programs within companies to get fostered. Something as simple as, for example, having more intern positions at your company, and off cycles when university students need work. I think that's kind of phased away over the years. Things a little bit more complex, but equally not expensive, like seeing secondment programs from company to company, where you may have somebody recruited into a service company that gets seconded to a drilling contractor for 6 months and then seconded on to an operator for 6 months. That kind of collaboration fulfills a much more enriched career, especially at the early days of their career. So our job is to look through the actions that were raised and see what makes sense, take them back to our managers inside of our own companies, and where it requires multiple companies to collaborate, we do so, and we put action groups together. Where it's individual companies can go off and chart their own path on these same themes, then they could do that as well.
Well, Blaine, thanks for taking the time to speak with me here at the forum. It'll be interesting to see this manifesto when it comes out, whenever it comes out, and to see what steps the industry can take here, because it's definitely something that's of interest to a lot of companies around the industry. So thank you again.
Thank you, Stephen.
And thank you for visiting Drilling Contractor.